This is the Alabama Orthopedic Clinic D1 Training High School Football Preview Show.
Well, it's Friday Night Rivals, but it's, just bumped up 24 hours. But we're still going to show up.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be fun.
We can't wait. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Friday Night Rivals Thursday edition. Big 6A matchup, Saraland hosting Blount. Weather coming on Friday. So many of the teams decided to move the game until Thursday night. So we said, hey, if they can be nimble, we got some nimbleness.
It wasn't so much how nimble were we. We're just a couple of guys that walk up to the press box, but the entire team, our entire production crew said we think we can do it, starting with Jared Kihas. And quick notice, they were able to make it happen. So if we have a game anything like the one we had last Friday, when we had threatening weather, or so we thought, because that was quite a game.
You still get, we both had the duck boots on. They were dry all night. We might put them on just in case. Yeah. Before we talk to Dr. Clayton Lane, but how about the win for Baker? So Baker comes from behind, wins that game 31-28 against Murphy last week. Even when Baker was coming back and Murphy had two touchdown leads, it never felt like it was the Hornets game to have until right at the end.
No, when you're down 14 twice, two different times, and really rattled early in the game, kudos to them. A very tough loss for Rico Jackson and the Murphy staff, but we're all going to move on.
Yeah, that's it. All right, so we're moving on this week, as we said, 6A matchup, Blount and Saraland. We'll talk all about that. Dr. Clayton Lane back with us. Good to see you again. He's going as Ryan Pace, the general manager of the Chicago Bears for Halloween. Doesn't even need to get a costume. Okay, so I saw you brought your knee model, which is funny because that's what Dan did to earn money through college. He was a knee model. Not many people know that. So
if there's anybody that would not be a knee model, it would be me.
So patella injury kind of in the news after last week. Patrick Mahomes, you saw it happen. I was watching it live. First of all, as someone who can prescribe medication, what do you prescribe to someone like me who, after they see that, is instantly queasy? I was very queasy watching that knee get put back in place.
Well, you wouldn't be alone. It makes the athlete queasy too when it happens.
So you could see, and Patrick Mahomes was on the field. I mean, you could see in tremendous pain, and then it even kind of surprised Troy Aikman when he said, "Did they just pop his knee back in?" Is that one of those things? Can it look worse than it actually, that part, can it look worse than it is?
Absolutely. I mean, because when the kneecap's dislocated to this side, basically it makes other bones stick out, and so it produces a gross deformity. So it can be very alarming in presentation, and people will think the knee's actually dislocated, when really it's just the kneecap. But once you've recognized that it's just a patella dislocation, it's very simple to get to go back in place. What they did is just lift it up on his foot, and you can see the kneecap will just slide right back into place.
Wow.
So it's very simple to go back in place, and then the athlete gets immediate relief, so he'll think you're the best person ever.
Very simple, however, not something you want to try at home. Let's let the guys who know what they're doing.
I think you can handle it.
It sounds like in his case, it was kind of best case scenario where cartilage didn't come with it, anything else. It was kind of clean, if you will, as far as those go, right?
Absolutely. So he was a first-time dislocation, so he's never had trouble before. And then on MRI, he didn't have any cartilage or ligament injury. So, that has a very high chance of staying in place without any surgery.
Good.
So probably an 80% chance it'll stay in place. And so what they'll do is they'll, give him a period of time to rest and immobilize it. And then they'll switch him over to something that's called a J brace. And a J brace will have a little pad on the outside of the kneecap to kind of hold it in place while he begins his rehab. And so typically, the return to play is 3 to 6 weeks. Now, don't hold me to those numbers, because everybody's different, but that's a typical return to play.
Is that an injury, like we talk about some of the injuries that we can do around the house, or you step off a curb, or just something is that more kind of like a sporting injury that you see more than maybe some of the other things that we do?
Incidental.
Yeah,
so 60% of these occur in athletics, so a little bit more than half. But it can happen to you sliding in and out of your car. But the difference is in sports, there's often a little trauma associated with it. Not only is the kneecap pulled to the side, but they'll go direct below, and that's what happened to Patrick. If you saw, his knee was slightly flexed when it hit the ground, and then the ground is what pushed the kneecap right in place.
Oh, it's almost I guess, like I always say, the especially players at that level, they're all DNA freaks and have amazing strengths. So it's amazing you don't see it happen more often. But they're all so strong in what they do. Oh, so all right. So I'll maybe just some ginger ale, something like that, to calm my stomach when I see things like this.
Get him a sleeve of crackers. I don't think his
You
belly's
can do
doing
it. Just
well.
lift the foot.
Okay,
It'll go back in place.
don't want that to happen. All right, good to see you, my friend, and good news about breaking news about Patrick Mahomes right here on Friday Night Rivals. We'll come back, get ready for the big 6A matchup tonight. Saraland hosting Blount on Friday Night Rivals, Thursday night edition here on UTV 44. D1 Training Center is where we are at, as we are every week. Tonight we're here on a Thursday night for a moved up night of Friday Night Rivals. If you're just joining us because of the weather they're calling for on Friday, the game got pushed up to Thursday, so we're happy to be able to do the game as well. In tonight's game, 6A matchup, Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Coach Lev Howley from the Blount Leopards. They are visiting Saraland tonight. Lee Hunter from the Leopards as well. And we're just talking, Coach, if you have to move a game like Thursday, better than Saturday. I know you had to deal with Saturday twice this year already, but let's kick this thing off. Get ready, right?
Let's go. It was kind of an easy decision. You know, main thing is safety. So, you know, me and Coach Kelly talked last night, and we went back this morning, and I woke up probably about 3:30 and was gonna give him a call this morning. Just, you know,
you should have called him at 3:30. That would have been the move to do.
I probably should have.
Get him off his game.
I grant you he wasn't doing his script then.
A little game, could have been a little gamesmanship earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe Holly called me at 3:30 in the morning.
Only reason I did because I care for the family.
That's it. Good.
There you go.
Good thinking. All right. So big matchup. You're 7-1. Your team playing great defense. Offensively, only had the one setback in a tight region game against St. Paul's. But heading into this game, again, we seem to have this conversation with you a lot. You've got to be happy of how your team's progressed and where they're at heading into this big matchup.
I'm proud of them. Proud of them. Proud of the coaches for what they brought to the table since last year. I didn't get a chance to get in last year, but I thought it humbled us as a coaching staff, humbled us as a team, and just went back to some things that I know work. You know, and I take full blame for what happened. But, you know, I challenge them every single day, and I think, you know, they've lived up to it. So I'm not surprised of the success, but we still have a long way to go.
Talk about Lee Hunter. So we've been watching him play on Friday nights as long as we've been doing games that he's been there. But boy, just got an offer from Bama last week. Everybody after him. Just talk about the year he has and the impact he can have on a football game.
Well, you know, defense, it starts up front. You know, and Lee came to us from BC Rain, and come from day one, he bought into the cultural, and I think that's been one of the biggest things that, you know, he's gravitated to. You know, of being humble, being resilient, and understanding what we want done, how we want it done. Everything is not asking, it's demanding, and he's lived up to it. So I think, you know, he's in a position now. You know, we talk about it every day of, you know, being able to take care of his family. I told him last week, I was like, you know, a lot of times you feel like a lot of weight on your back because you have a lot of people depending on you. You know, I said, but the thing about it is men are called, but few are chosen. And he's one of those chosen ones.
And sometimes we forget about this in a lot of instances. They're just kids. Like a lot of pressure. They're just kids, but he's a big kid, Dan Brennan.
You know, I had to do a double take when you just called him a kid. It's like, hey, I'm sitting next to him. I object. But anyway, Lee, talk about the difference between this year's team as opposed to last year's team, when the team was kind of hot and cold and didn't even make the playoffs. But this year, you're just kind of rolling on through.
I felt like we bought in as a team. Mm-hmm. We do the little things right, like Coach asks. We just do the fundamentals that they teach us, and everything else take place.
You imagine how well Lee Hunter does when he does the fundamental things, because he could just go off the rails and probably dominate. But you got a good feeling going into this game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had a good week of practice this week, so yes, sir.
You know, since you've been there, and you and Jeff, of course, we go back way long ways, coached together, known each other a long time. You kind of know what you get. But boy, they have been on a roll from week one. A very impressive Saraland team that you're going to match up with again later tonight.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. I said it in the paper. You know, it's a typical Jeff team, but I know he puts into it. You know, I know those kids. They look at him and things get tough. He's able to get them out of it, but. You know, he works his tail off. you know, and I think that's a credit to him and his upbringing and always want to be great at what he does, you know, and he has those saying, you know, you got to earn the right, you know, and, you know, I think he's one of those guys that have earned the right, and I'm very fortunate to call him not just a friend, but a brother. So I'm very proud of him, you know, so tomorrow, like I said, man, we'll get out, man, we're going to compete, you know, I'm going to try to beat his head in, he's going to try to beat mine in, and, you know, but I can say this, when it hits 0, you know,
It'll be a big hug at midfield.
It will be a big hug, win or lose. You know, last year was like, you know, we had a dog fight last year, and I remember a reporter coming up trying to talk to him before he said anything. He said, hey, I'm going to talk to Lev first. Yep. You know, but it meant a lot, you know. So, you know, our kids grew up together in Jackson, you know, running around, throwing the ball, and, you know, so just really just a great guy, you know. But I'm not surprised at the success they're having with him leading.
Yeah. The atmosphere is going to be really cool at the game. Saraland always brings a big crowd. Blount's going to bring a big crowd, and I think it's great that we're going to have great weather because it really could have bad weather may have impacted gates all over. You want to have that crowd. I mean, you got to be excited about what the atmosphere is going to be like for this game as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Student body's going to be there cheering you on, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They've been talking about it all day at school, so yes, sir.
Yeah. Well,
and, you know, the two schools really, as the crow flies,
not very far.
Not that far away, and I'm sure you know some of the Saraland players too.
No, sir.
Oh, really? No kidding.
BC Rain grew up BC Rain.
Okay.
Moved out to that way. So,
yes, sir.
But it is a good rivalry. It's a big rivalry. Just a little bit. You talked about it starting up front, but boy, you know, you're giving up 10 a game. You know, you're going to be real successful. You know, it's been great on that side of the ball. You got to be proud, especially what Lee and his teammates are doing there.
Yeah, it's a definite adjustment. You know, because I went from being a head coach, kind of manager, to actually calling the defense. So it's a big adjustment. But from day one, you know, my defense coordinator Lee Smith, he left and took a job at Pillins as assistant principal. So, you know, he got promoted. So just kind of searched for a minute, and I said, hey, you know, it's what I do, you know, so I
know a real good one that's out there. You know a good one that's out there.
Well, I'm only good as those guys that's out there making plays. I'm not going to make one play, you know, but my thing is put them in a situation, and, you know, they look at them, hey, coach, whatever you call, we're going to make it work, you know. So, like I said, I have a bunch of faith in them. You know, I think we're playing with about 18, 19 guys that we feel really good about. And, you know, the one thing about that is every last one of those kids makes each other better. So I think if you got a bunch of kids making everybody around them better, you got a chance to be really successful. So that's what you're seeing now, you know, so we'll see. You know, I think this by far will be the toughest task we've had, and we don't expect nothing less, you know, but we're going to go in and then I know we'll compete, we'll play our hearts out, and, you know, at the end of the day, hey, we're going to let the chips fall where they lay.
Well, we can't wait to see it tonight on Thursday night's edition of Friday Night Rivals. It's Blount and Saraland. Just going to be a great electric atmosphere. We can't wait. Thanks for being here, Coach. We'll see you in the last segment. Lee, thanks for being here as well. We'll see you on the field. We'll come back and talk to Jeff Kelly and find out about the Spartans matchup with Blount tonight here on UTV 44. Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44 Thursday night edition, and we've been looking at this one for a while on the calendar. Jim Cox, Stan Brennan, Jeff Kelly, head coach of the Saraland Spartans, and Sean Bird, linebacker for the Spartans, are here. It's our first chance to see Saraland, been ranked #1 in 6A, undefeated on the year. And I would just mention that Coach Kelly politely reminded me of that earlier this week. He's like, "Hey, finally, we get to have the TV crew come out." So everybody's excited for this one. But you heard us just talking about it. First and foremost, what a great start. But the atmosphere, like it's always great at Saraland. But boy, it's going to be wonderful tonight.
You know, we're excited. We're excited to get going. We've had a good year so far, but you know, this is a big game every year. It seems like. You know, we've been playing 5 or 6 years. Every game seems to be just exciting. Last year was unbelievable, and I really, without a doubt, our community is going to come out and support. It's going to be a lot of fun at Spartan Stadium.
Essentially, you kept them from the playoffs last year. That game, I know, that was not a TV game, but all the reports we read and heard about it, it was down to the wire, huh?
Well, you know, Coach Holly and his crew do a great job. They got great players. They play extremely hard. Last year's game was, you know, just a sort of a springboard for us and our team. We got down in the game, couple touchdowns. We clawed our way back and found a way to win in overtime. And And I think that gave us a little momentum going into the playoffs. And, you know, who knows what will happen tonight. But, you know, we know it's going to be two outstanding teams that, you know, that's going to tee it up.
High level of anticipation for this one, Jim.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to it as well. All right, so Sean Bird, before we talk to Sean, we were just talking off the air, and we were talking about we've seen a lot of linebackers kind of similar to Sean coming through Saraland in the games we've done. Tough, hard-nosed kids, smart football players, smart football IQ. But you just said, yeah, but they don't make many like Sean.
Sean, we've had some really good linebackers come through over the years. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've had good ones every year. Sean's a tremendous athlete. You know, he's got great instincts. He's always around the ball. He's got great ball skills. And, you know, when the game's on the line and you need somebody to step up and make a play, Sean's been doing that, you know, his whole career. And he's a great leader for our team. He's a great leader for our school. And I'm so proud he's wearing our jersey tonight. He plays his heart out every Friday night.
So you might have heard us talking about Blount's defense. Your defense has been spectacular. Maybe the offense gets a little more attention at Saraland from the points they put up, and when you have a former quarterback as the head coach. But your side of the ball, you guys have as well a really great year over there. Just talk about how the season's been going for you and your teammates.
It's been going good. I think we've really came together over the weeks and really molded together and been playing well together as a defense.
And it's gotta make you, obviously it's a big game, it's an exciting game, but Saraland's been in a lot of these games. You've been in a lot of big games over the years while you've been there. So, you know, kind of what are you feeling getting ready for this big matchup with Blount?
It's every week in and out. We always prepare the same. Like Coach says, it's the most important game because it's the next one and it's a region game. So,
tell me a little bit about what you see on film when you see Blount. And of course, they're not a stranger as an opponent. You play them every year, right. So you have an idea what you're going to be facing tomorrow night. But what do you see offensively? The things they do, the personnel they send out there that got your attention?
I see they got that running back number 3. He's a pretty good back this year, one of the better ones we faced this year. Definitely have to keep an eye out for him and dominate the line of scrimmage.
They are a talented team, weapons all over, and we see what they're doing. But, you know, offensively, you've got a lot of weapons over there as well. You've got to be happy the way y'all have been playing on that side of the ball.
Well, you know, we've got a senior quarterback who's been in the fire. He's 22-2 maybe as a starter. We've got outstanding running backs. We've got linemen that's been playing a long time. They've been doing a good job. The group that I'm proud of, probably more so, is our receiving corps. You know, we've been able to be balanced. You know, a lot of people know us as, you know, a run team and this kind of stuff. And we run the ball. We've had success doing it, but we've been able to stay balanced, and that's something that's allowed us to make teams keep their safeties back, and it's allowed us to be more effective in the run game. And so those, you know, we got a couple of receivers, Jarrell Williams, Jerome York, DJ Thomas, Clyde Smith, some of those guys that they've allowed us in giving Brett some open targets, and we've been able to, you know, be effective both in the air and on the ground.
How well has Brett come along? Because I guess last year was his first year as a starter,
Yeah.
and we saw the talent from the start. You could
Yeah.
see the kid could play, but what have you seen in terms of his growth?
You know, I've had him 2 years now, 2.5 years. I've yet to see him lose his composure. You know, we've had a lot of times where things didn't go his way or made a mistake here or there. He's always ready to play that next play. You know, right now he's thrown a lot of touchdowns and only 2 or 3 interceptions, so it keeps us out of negative things. It allows our defense to play, and but he's as close to a coach on the field as I've had out there. He's got a good understanding.
Wow.
He studies the game, and you know, he's a guy that I think a trait of a quarterback is, do the guys around him want to play for him? And he's got that air about him. The linemen, the receivers, the backs. He's just got that personality that they want to go out and compete. And so I'm proud of him in terms of what he's done so far.
Tell us a little bit just about the decision, how it came about to move the game, because certainly the forecast looks just, you know, downpour upon downpour on Friday night. Kind of just the thought process to move it up a day.
It's always tough, and you know, you look back, you know, hopefully it's the right decision. The weather's supposed to be terrible tomorrow night, you know, and there's our biggest, you know, thing that we look for is, number one, we got to keep everybody safe. We got a lot of people coming. This is going to be a huge game. It's going to be a huge crowd, and so looking out for everybody there. It's senior night, you know, so we've got a lot of families that are in to see our seniors play, and you know, if this thing pushed over into Saturday, which has happened 2 or 3 weeks this season, you've got a lot of other things. You got ACT tests going on. There's just a lot of other things. So you know, it looks like the weather's going to be, you know, beautiful and nice tonight to tee it up and play. I think both teams are ready. It's week 10. Yep. There's not a lot of secrets. You're not going to go reinvent the new, you know, the new play to go win the game. I mean, it's you are who you are. We are, you know. So
you're not coming out in the wing tee,
hey,
are you?
let's tee it up and play.
Yeah,
let's tee it up.
We're happy. And just that
we're tired of practicing. Let's
yeah,
go
that whole
play.
Saturday thing makes it tough on so many things. Like you said, there's other things going on. Well, we're excited. It's Thursday night, Friday night, Wednesday, Monday, whenever it was. We wanted to be there, and we're so excited we're going to be there. So kickoff's about 10 minutes away. We're going to bring Lev Howley back, and we're going to wrap this thing up and get ready for the big matchup here 6 a.m. tonight on Friday Night Rivals, our Thursday edition. Sean, be safe out there. Coach, we'll see you in the last segment as we get ready for the big matchup, Blount and Saraland tonight here on UTV 44. All right, Friday Night Rivals Thursday night edition, and it's like a family reunion up here with Coach Kelly and Coach Lev Howley from Blount, Saraland. They've known each other forever. Kids grew up together, coached together in Jackson. So we'll quickly get on to Bren in, Bren out, the Thursday night edition. Dan Brennan, Haunted House in Tennessee. You're not allowed to enter until you watch a 2-hour-long video, sign a 40-page waiver, create a safe word, pass a physical, and more. This Haunted House in Tennessee. Bren in, Bren out.
Bren out.
Run out.
Out? I'm out too. I just too much power for that guy. One contestant on this week's Wheel of Fortune, my mom told me about this, used his intro with Pat Sajak to tell the viewers that he's trapped in a loveless marriage to an old battle axe. Dan Brennan, I'm just going to ask you in general.
Yeah?
Game shows, in or out?
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that's where we're going. Game shows, out.
In.
In. My dream job, I've always told you, host a game show. I want to host a game show.
Well, maybe that's what you're good at.
Economists have applied a complex mathematical equation to determine who gives the best tips on Uber. The answer is not you. But using Uber. Bren in, Bren out?
Bren in.
Yeah?
Bren in.
Oh, man.
Oh, love it. Like, I love it. It is so great. Last one. Kale chips. My wife made me some kale chips. Bren in, Bren out?
Well, she's a battle axe.
No idea.
Fresh kale, made into chips.
Never heard.
You're all out. Healthy eating, I'm the only one. Kickoff is next. It's Blount and Saraland
Love you,
tonight
Carrie.
here on UTV 44.